Truth be told, there's always been a hustler on a mission. Mission for greatness. Some people are naturally blessed with the hustler's ambition. Now this story is one that we're all quite familiar with. This man had talent and a dream. Three things that he always had besides his 45 were intelligence, ambition, and intuition. Hustler is not simply born. The true hustler is created as he adapts to the bullshit this world throws at him.
This is Andre of Big Gemini Kennels, aka BGK. Welcome back. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment, let us know what you're thinking. Make sure you hit that alert button so that you're notified every time we drop content, and that's gonna be frequently because we came to drop bombs. Beast mode.
Hey, what up? So today, Dre BGK is here to hit you with a story time. Let's get ready for a BGK story time. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Andre BGK. I'm right back at you with another story time. All right, today, the story time is gonna get a little deep, right? I've been waiting for a long time to do this story time. This story time is gonna be great. Today's story time is about a dog thief. When I say a dog thief, I mean a dog thief of the worst type, right? This is a dog trainer who I recommended to a great client of mine / good friend of mine, and the dog trainer actually ended up being the shadiest piece of shit you could ever imagine. I had no idea that dog trainers could be this fucking bad, right? Now, y'all have to let me know, have y'all had similar experiences with dog trainers? Have y'all had similar issues with dog trainers? Is this something unique to my situation? Is this something unique to this piece of shit individual? Or is this something that happens in the dog training world on a regular basis? Because I don't know. I've only dealt with a limited amount of dog trainers, and this experience right here makes me want to be very careful of the type of dog trainers that I deal with or the dog trainers that I recommend to my client. Now let me start at the beginning because this story gets a little deep, right? For the purposes of this video, what I'm not going to do is disclose the name of my client because they're a very well-off individual, a very high-profile individual, and a very good person who I don't want their name dragged into this, even though I guess when you look at the court case, you're going to see some of it because I'm definitely going to include a link to the court case in the description because we had to make sure that this guy got caught up, and when you see how it transpired, you'll understand what that link in the description is. I'm not going to explain about that now. You can look and see it now if you want, but let me go ahead and tell you what happened. So, I had a good friend of mine that had bought a Cujo dog from me initially. He had bought a dog named Kojak that came out of Cujo. Kojak turned out to be an amazing dog, and my friend is a very well-off individual. He was at the time living in Ohio, decided to relocate to Italy. He's the leader of BGK Italia, and BGK Italy is located on 90 acres on Lake Garda in Italy. I mean, it's a beautiful location. If y'all like to check out BGK Italy, go ahead and check the link in my description, or you know what, I think on Instagram is BGK Italia, at BGK Italia. Look right here, at BGK Italia. So anyway, the friend of mine that had bought the Cujo pup came back to me and said, I want to buy a female pup from you, right? All right, so I sold him a first pick, top of the line pup. So now she has one of the female pups, and I was like, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and start off BGK Italia the right way? I'll send you a second pup. So he purchased a second pup from me, and believe me, these pups aren't cheap, right? These are not cheap pups. You know my motto, quality matters, and this is a good friend of mine, so I'm giving him top quality, best of the best, right? So I shipped the second pup over to his fiance. So now at this point, he has two puppies located with his fiance, who is currently in Ohio. Now he's coming back and forth from Italy to Ohio, Ohio to Italy. That's what he's doing at this time, right? So After both of the pups were with his fiance, he's really excited about them. He's like, this is what we're going to use to launch BGK Italia. But before I import them to Italy, what I'm going to do is I would like to have them fully trained. I want them fully obedience trained. I want them on leash trained, off leash trained. I want them to be able to do bite work, protective work. I want them trained to the gills. I want the full experience. Do you have a trainer that you can recommend that is in the Ohio area, right? And at that point, honestly, I didn't know anybody in the Ohio area that I could recommend to train these 2 top quality first pick female pups that he had for me, right? And these are beautiful pups. In the meantime, his wife is bonding with these dogs, which is hilarious because initially, his fiance, I should say, but I keep mixing up because they're married now, but his fiance is bonding with the dogs. And this is very funny because she initially was not a pit bull or XL American bully woman. She did not like them, and these dogs won her heart over. So Gaia was the first to make it over, and then V is the second dog, and V made it over there as well. And she was just sending me all these pictures of her with the dogs. She loved these dogs, man. So they were very adamant about making sure that they only get the best of the best when it came to dog training for these dogs. So me, what I did, since I did not have any dog trainers that I was affiliated with or that I knew that I could recommend in Ohio, was I contacted a female, and I'm gonna call her Miss C for the sake of this conversation, because I don't feel like giving her goofy ass any clout by missing her stupid ass fucking name on my channel, right? But I went over and contacted Miss C. Now at this time, Miss C had always been cool with me. I considered us friends, right? We would talk about dogs, we would talk about, you know, breeding. She's a breeder as well, you know, and she's been around for a long time, just like I've been around for a long time. The only difference is I've been a successful breeder and she's been a mediocre breeder, but we've both been breeding for a long time, right? And we had that in common. So when I spoke to her, I actually had respect for her and her knowledge of working dogs. She seemed to be very into protective or driven dogs. So I asked her, hey, Miss C, do you know anybody that you would recommend in the Ohio area that's a good dog trainer? And she goes, oh my God, oh yes, I have the best person ever. You don't understand how good this guy is. He's won so many awards. He's won all these dog trainer shows, all these dog training events. He goes there, he just cleans up. This guy is the best of the best. His name is Steven Gaspito. That was his name on Facebook. His name I will say fully because you'll understand why I'm saying his name fully at the end, right? This is no alleged situation. Now, you know, most of the times I'm quick to say allegedly this, allegedly that. This is not alleged. This has been documented in the courts. It is in the court system now. So there's no alleged attached to this. She goes, I recommend this guy at Steven Gaspito. All right, so I contact Steven and I let him know, hey man, I have a very high-end client that is a good friend of mine as well, right? Now you gotta imagine, not only is the guy that has the 2 females a good friend, but I've known him now for 10 years. He bought Kojak maybe 9 years ago. Kojak is an older male at this point, right? So he wanted to get 2 females to breed the Kojak and then using the BGK Italia breeding program. So we've had a long-term relationship. So I'm trying to make sure that he gets the best of the best because I know he spent top dollar. Everything he's ever bought from me has been a first pick. The dog he bought from Cujo from me was Kojak. The female that he bought from Nikita and Debo was BGK's Gaia, first pick female. And the other female that he bought out of V came out of Naya, bred back to BGK's Debo. Both of them are first picks, and he's taking first picks from my first picks. So we're talking about quality matters, best of the best females, right? So at this point, I'm telling this trainer all of this over the phone. I'm speaking to Steven Gaspito. By the way, that's not his real name. His real name is Stephen A. Gossmeyer. Stephen A. Gossmeyer is his real name. But on Facebook, he was going by Steven Gaspito. Well, I guess that was his alias that he was using while conducting business on Facebook. All right. So anyway, I started speaking with him over the phone. And as I was speaking with him over the phone, one of the things I asked very, very clearly was, hey man, can you train pit bulls the same? Because he was mostly training German Shepherds. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. He was mostly training German Shepherds. And I asked him, hey, are you capable of training pit bulls or XL American bullies? Because these dogs are going to be big. And the dogs that I sent over to Ohio to my guy's fiance, they have a lot of drive. Oh man, I can be great at training pit bulls. I've been training for 10 years. He started sending me all these videos of him training, all these championships he's won, all these accolades he has to his name as far as training goes. And honestly, he came across as a very amicable person. He was a very likable person. We had similar personalities, at least it felt that way. Maybe he was mirroring me at that time that made me feel comfortable. But as we spoke, I felt, you know what? I understand why she recommended this guy. I understand why Miss C said this guy was going to be the guy that could do all the training. And I explained to him, and he goes, look, man, I'm going to have to charge your client top dollar. I'm going to charge him $10,000 per puppy. But that includes everything. That includes their food, their training. I'll be keeping him updated with at least a video every 2 weeks so that he knows exactly what they're being trained to do, and that way he'll be able to help out and keep that training going, because training doesn't stop once I hand the dogs off to him. He's going to have to keep reinforcing that training with them over there once he receives his dogs. Okay, man, that sounds good. So the next thing I do, and this is what I regret doing, is I go ahead and I introduce him to my high value client, right? So now there's a three-way call, and it's me, and it's Steven Gaspito, and it's my client, who we're gonna call T for the sake of this conversation. So me, T, and Steven Gaspito are all on the phone, and Steven is like, hey man, I'm so happy that you chose me as your trainer. I'm witnessing this firsthand. I'm hearing this firsthand, right? I'm on this three-way call. He's like, I'm gonna take good care of your dogs. I'm gonna send you videos every 2 weeks. I'll make sure they're fed. I'll make sure they're taken care of. I'll keep you updated. We're gonna do on-leash training, off-leash training. We're gonna do bite work. First, I have to lay the foundation for the bite work. So I just want you to understand how it's gonna go. First, I have to teach them the on-leash training. Then we'll move on to off-leash, and then I'll lay the groundwork for protective work. And then we'll move into protective work and bite work. So when you get these dogs, you're gonna have 2 ready-to-go beasts, fully trained by yours truly. Man, this sound good, right? So what we did next was my guy T actually flew back in from Italy, and him and his fiance actually physically sat down and met with Steven, the trainer. And after that meeting, my client T called me back and was like, look man, this guy was really great in person. Everything he said he could do, he did. He brought out a couple of his German Shepherds and put them through their paces, and man, they were really impressive. They did everything he said at the drop of a dime. Those dogs were fully trained. This guy is a great trainer. Off to a great start. Now here comes red flag number 1. Steven, before he even has the dogs in his custody, hits up my client, Mr. T, and is like, hey man, I'm running short on money. Can you please loan me $2,500? Or not actually loan me, can you advance me $2,500 against the $20K that you're going to be paying to have your 2 dogs trained? Remember, it's $10,000 per pup, so it's $20,000 in total that this man is being paid to train these dogs. Which, by the way, I later found out he usually does not charge that much. Usually he would have charged $6,000, but because it was a high profile client, he decided to up the price on him, all right? $10,000, and my client didn't flinch. Okay, if he can do what he says for that price point, I'm okay with it. So he's already upping the price point on my client, but now he's asking for an advance. Can I get $2,500 in advance? Times are hard. It's COVID, blah, blah, blah. You know, I have a truck that needs fixing, or I'm not going to be able to get around to even do anything I need to do, and that includes training your dogs. My client, being the good-hearted guy he is, no contract in hand at this point, just being a good-hearted individual that is showing that he truly intends to do business with this trainer, forwards the $2,500 over to him. Here's your $2,500, man. Just deduct that from the $20,000 that I'm paying you to train my dogs. Boom. So that happened. And he kind of relayed that to me. And I was kind of like, that's a little sketch, bro. Like, that's a little, I told my client that, you know, like, or my friend, I should say. I told T, like, look, man, that's a little sketch. I don't know about this. But T, being the guy that he is, still sent the money over, cashed out them $2,500. All right. And after that $2,500 gets cashed up over to him, he says he's ready to pick up the dogs. So when he goes to pick up the dogs, my client then pays him somewhere around another $15,500, I think it was. So now he's paid $18,000 out of the $20,000 that he's going to be charged. And he said, I'm going to pay you the other $2,000 that I still owe you on the back end. Right? Now, this is key. I want you to pay attention. He's saying, I'm going to pay you the other $2,000 that I owe you for the training on the back end. I'm giving you $18K up front to train and feed and house my dogs. How long will it take? The guy told him, you know what? I think it's going to take me to get these dogs to where I want them to be and where you're going to be happy with their training, full on-leash, off-leash, obedience training, and bite work, protection work. Give me like 6 to 8 months, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. 6 to 8 months, I should be able to have them where you need them. Boom. So now that happens. Now he comes over and picks up both of the puppies. Both of the puppies are being picked up by this guy, right? Now after both of the puppies are picked up and they're with him, he takes pictures of them and he sends them off to my guy overseas. He sends them out to T, and he also sends them to me showing, hey man, I got these dogs, and he's all hitting me up saying how impressed he was with the dogs, because this is the first time this trainer actually got to see any BGK. BGK stands for Big Gemini Kennels for those that are new to my channel. BGK dogs in person. And he's telling me, man, I understand why so many people like you on the internet. I understand why your program is well known. These are some top quality females. This dude was super impressed. Super impressed. And I think that's part of the problem. And we'll get to that later. He really liked these two females. He was gung-ho about these two females. He was like, man, is he going to breed them? Does he want to put them in the shows? Because these dogs, I could take them to scutzing contests and things of that nature. He was talking about the levels he thought these dogs could reach in training, and he was super excited and adamant about training these dogs. He was like, man, I'm so glad that you chose me. I can't wait to show you guys what I can do. Now things start to get sketchy. He sends pictures and videos of them being trained for the first month. And then he goes dark. Alright? He's not responding to me online. He's not responding to me by phone. He's not responding to my client. He's not calling my client. He's not showing my client nothing. Right? There's no response. My client starts calling me saying, hey man, the guy that you recommended is not responding to me anymore. I don't know what's going on with my dogs, but this guy is not sending me pictures, not sending me videos. He's not answering my calls. He's not responding to my text messages. And my fiance is also attempting to contact him. Both of us are just blowing him up. So now you have all three of us, me as the breeder contacting him. He's not responding. His fiance is calling the trainer. The trainer's still not responding. And then T is actually calling the trainer. The trainer is just not responding. After about 2 to 3 months of him going dark, I contact Miss C. Remember, Miss C is the person that vouched for him. He's such a good guy. This is where you should go. And like I said, I've known her for a long time, many years, probably 8, 9 years herself. So I called her like, hey, the guy that you recommended to us is no longer responding. She goes, oh, Steve's not responding to you guys? Something's crazy going on. I'll get a hold of him. So she gets a hold of him, and I don't know how she did it. She was able to get a hold of him. And then he calls me up, hey man, you know what? My aunt died. It's been hard times. It's just bad news, bro. I'm still training the dog. Sorry I haven't got any videos out, but the training is happening. I'm like, bro, you can't just tell me that. You need to tell my client. He's the one who paid you $18,000, right? Please contact him and let him know. Can I call him on three-way right now? Because I don't trust this guy to call him without me on the phone, right? Can we call him on three-way right now? You know what? Yeah, call him on three-way. Call him on three-way. So I called him on three-way with the trainer. And once T gets on the phone with me and Steve, he's not biting into his head like I thought he was. He's being kind of nice about the situation. Like, man, you had me very worried. You weren't responding. You're not letting me know what's going on with the dogs. Are my dogs okay? Are they being trained? Are they even eating? What's going on over there? He's like, oh man, you know what? Soon as I hang up this phone, I'm going to see some video footage. My aunt passed. I'm having marital problems. I'm having financial problems.
I can't find the right size sports bra. My boobs are getting bigger.
You know, just, you know, the woe is me sob story. But you know what? As a businessman, you can't put all your problems onto your client. You got to handle your personal problems personally and keep business and do what you're paid to do. That's the way I see it, right? Unless there's just some crazy circumstances that stop you from doing business, you're supposed to continue to conduct business in the way business should be conducted, as much as you hate to deal with it because of your personal issues. But I digress. So, moving forward with the situation, he's telling him all the problems he's having and that he's going to do better, and it's going to be videos every 2 weeks moving forward, and the dogs are healthy and happy. And I think right after that, he sent a video that showed them doing some bite work, right? After he sent that video, he goes dark for another 2 to 3 months. Dark. He will not respond to me. He won't respond to T, who is the person that paid for everything, and he won't respond to T's fiance. He's just not responding at all. He's not sending pictures. He's not sending videos. Again, I contact Miss C, the person that introduced me to him. Hey, we talked to him. He finally came through and sent us one video, and he went dark again. He's not responding anymore. What do we do at this point? Because this is getting crazy. He's not responding. You know, my client is really off the walls right now. At this point, he's about ready to just ask for his dogs and his money back because they're not getting trained as far as we know. We've seen some work, but we didn't see any obedience training. We haven't seen them do sit, stay, lay. We just seen her barking aggressively on a lead. That's it. That's all we've ever seen. We've not seen evidence of any obedience training, any on-leash, off-leash training, and no true protective work, just that he was able to get her riled up when she was on a lead, which is not hard to do because she's already a very drivey dog, right? And Miss C, once again, she goes, look, I'm going to contact him. I don't know what's going on with him. He's been going through a lot of personal issues. Please don't hold it against him. I'll get him on the phone. She gets him on the phone again. Now, this is the last time we're going to speak to him for a very long time. I once again tell him, he tells me I'm going through bad things and my girl is going to leave me and woe is me and financial hard times and my nipples are irritated and whatever else he was saying. I don't know, man. I don't give a fuck about what was going on with him at that point. Who cares, right? You know, so put some tassels over your nipples and then they won't rub against your shirt as much. I don't know, bro, but I want to hear about your personal problems. Are you going to get a hold of my client and let him know what's going on? Yeah, I'm going to call him. Well, I don't trust that because you said that for the last 3 months and haven't called him. So let's get him on three-way right now. Don't get off this phone, bro. Stay right there. So I get T on the phone again. And this time T's like, dude, what are we going to do? Like, are you going to get my dogs? And he's more irritated this time. You know, he's a nice guy, but everybody has their limit, right? Now, this is a half a year of being fucked around and you got 2 videos in 6 months. So he's pissed. He's like, are you going to give me my money and my dogs back? Or are you going to do what you paid to do? Let me know, because if you need me to pick up the dogs, I can have somebody over there in 15 minutes to get my dogs back. No, dude, it's not like that. The dogs aren't here anyway. I'll put them at another training facility because I've just been so busy. But you know what? I got everything covered. I'm going to be sending you video as soon as we hang up. I'll be sending them video more regularly. I've been having personal issues. It never usually goes like this. I'll get this stuff worked out. Please bear with me. And my guy reluctantly, after they structured once again how he would finally follow up and do things by the book, he lets it go again. Okay, I'll let this guy do it again. And that is where shit goes haywire. Alright? I want y'all to follow me through this. Look. So, he goes dark again. Instead of actually sending the videos and photos after this phone call, he doesn't do anything after this phone call. He just ghosts us. Completely ghosts us. For the next at least 8 months. We're blowing him up. We're doing everything we can to find him. I'm contacting Miss C. She's barely responding now. I'm contacting him. He's not responding at all. He's not on Facebook anymore. He's not answering my calls. He's not answering my texts. Same with T. He's not answering T's calls. He's not answering T's texts. And same with T's fiance. He's not answering nobody. He's just a ghost, right? So, and this is where I want you guys to let me know, do you think I'm being an asshole at this point? Because I got to ask y'all this. Because at this point, I go to Facebook and I make a post and I say, hey, my client wants his puppies back. This particular trainer has ghosted my client. We don't know where the dogs are, right? We don't know if he's trained the dogs at all. We don't know if the dogs are even still alive. All we know is he has $18,000 of my client's money and will not return his calls and will not tell him where his dogs are and won't tell him what condition they're in, won't send video, won't send pics, what's going on. Now, at this point, Miss C and another friend of hers who will go by Eric the Douche. We'll call him Eric the Douche in this video, right? So Miss C and Eric the Douche decide to hop on my post that I make on Facebook for my client, and they're going crazy on me when I make this post about the trainer stealing the dogs. He's not like that. He would never. You're a real asshole for putting this on social media. Why would you say this about our friend who's such a great dog trainer? He's a great dog trainer. Your guy did not pay for his dog food. That's why he's not giving them anything. Your guy needs to pay for dog food. Oh, I left out something very critical. One day, Steven calls me and says, hey, you know, he still owes me $2,500. He really only owed him $2,000. But he goes, he still owes me $2,500. So what I need is for you to get a hold of your client to send out $2,500 because I'm really struggling out here, man. Now, that was supposed to be paid on the back end. Mind you, he already has the $18,000. That was the upfront payment. The $2,000 is supposed to be paid after the dogs are fully trained and turned back over to my client, right? The $2,000 was supposed to be a safeguard to make sure that the dogs came back. But me being a nice guy that I am, cashed that $2,500 over to him because I know that my client will take care of it, and $2,500 between he and I is no big amount of money. So now I'm invested in this guy as well. I've cashed out him $2,500, right? So now let's jump back to my Facebook post because I forgot to mention that portion. On my Facebook post, they're saying he's saying that your client still owes him $2,000 and that he needs to get dog food to feed these dogs, and that he cannot afford the dog food, and it's you guys' fault because you won't give him money. Now this is a complete fabrication and a complete lie. Not only is he not owed any more money at this point because I gave him the extra $2,000, even though it wasn't my debt, just to show good faith, I gave him that $2,000. It was not about dog food because the dog food was already included with the price of the training. The $20K was very clear to include feeding, housing, and everything else that had to do with the training. Equipment, everything. It was a $20K flat fee. So he's flat out lying. But on my Facebook post, Eric the douche and Miss C are going crazy back and forth on my post saying, oh, you're such an asshole for making my friend look bad. You're such an asshole for making my friend look bad. So I get a hold of my client and he goes, hey man, this guy finally did respond to me, and he said, you know what? I sold your dogs on Craigslist. That was a what the fuck moment for me. Like, what the fuck? I sold your dogs on Craigslist? Like, hold up, something ain't adding up. He sold 2 dogs that are worth well over $20,000. Well over $20,000. He sold both of them for free? Like, or for the low on Craigslist? Like, what's going on? It's not making sense. And he goes, I asked him, why did he sell my dogs on Craigslist? And he goes, because, you know what, man? I was just struggling and going through a bad time. And then he hung up. All right? So my client, Mr. T, doesn't believe him at all. And he contacts the local authorities in Ohio and had them raid his property to try to find his dog. So the police contact Steve, and they go over to his property. They go through his property looking for the dogs, and they see no pit bulls or American bullies there. So clearly, wherever the dogs are, they're not with Steven at this point. And the police are on his ass. Hey man, this guy paid you. You got to return his dogs, bro. The money can be a civil matter, but his dogs, this is theft if you do not give these dogs back. Steven, oh, I'll get the dogs back to him. This is where he tells the police officers, I'm going to get the dogs back to him. You know, it's just a misunderstanding. And I had them at another location because they weren't interacting well with the German Shepherds. He's making up a bunch of bullshit, but the cops are not buying it. They're like, okay, we hear all that, but make sure you get the dogs back. Fast forward 3 to 4 months later, the dogs still aren't back. He's not responding to me. He's not responding to Mr. T. He's not responding to my friend's fiance, and he's allegedly not responding to Miss C. He's not talking to nobody. He's just off the radar. So T, my client, contacts me again. He goes, dude, I'm pressing charges. He's like, it's going to cost me a lot of money to press charges, but this whole situation is costing me a lot more than money, so I'm willing to spend whatever it takes to get this guy done. And I don't think that Steve recognized that he really had that big of an issue. By the way, as Mr. T was doing his research on Steve, he realized that this guy had done this before, and there were a lot of different people online saying, hey, my dogs had the same experience. I didn't get my dogs back, or he took my money and didn't train my dogs. There are a lot of people online saying that, and we did not realize that prior to that. As we went forward with pressing the case against him, more and more people would come forward saying, oh yeah, he's been ripping people off for dogs. Oh yeah, he's been taking funds from people and then not performing the training. He's a scumbag. So we didn't notice at that point. So my friend T, being the beast that he is, was able to secure an indictment. Yes, an indictment against Steven, right? And that indictment link and the conviction is in the description. All right, I'm going to read to you what he was convicted of. All right. So he was indicted for 2 counts of theft by deception, because what happens after Steve found out he was being indicted by my client, he decided to take his bitch ass on the run. Right? So he's all running around trying to hide from the police before they finally catch him and take him to jail. And he pleads guilty to 2 counts of theft by deception. And those are felonies, by the way. He was charged with felonies and convicted of felonies, which is why this is not an alleged case. This is documented in the courts, and the link to his conviction is in my description, as well as his real name, Stephen A. Godsmeyer. You'll be able to see everything about him, aka Stephen Gaspito, on Steve Gispito on Facebook, which I don't know if he deactivated that account or not, but that's who we're talking about. Now here's where it gets interesting. After he pleads guilty, the judge asks him again, where are these dogs? If you do not tell us where these dogs are that you stole from this man, you're going to have to pay for them. And I think when he gets out, he's going to have to pay something like $1,000 a week or $1,000 every 2 weeks until he pays off the value of these dogs. So his broke ass is going to be getting out of jail and working for the free, paying my client back for many, many moons. You know what? And the stupidest thing about it is if he had really trained these dogs and done a good job, my client would have been one of the best clients he could have had long term. He owns all kinds of dogs. He just bought a Kango. He's buying all kinds of dogs. He would have been his go-to guy for training dogs. And you already established a $10,000 price point, which is way above what you were getting anyway for your dogs. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, in the court, the judge is asking him, the judge asked him, can you tell us where these dogs are? Because he had told my client, I sold them on Craigslist. And this is where it gets interesting. In the court, he said, I did not sell these dogs, but I gave them to a breeder who's a friend of mine because I could not afford them. When they asked him to identify the breeder, he would not identify that breeder. But I want you to put two and two together. Miss C, who introduced me to him, is a breeder that's a longtime friend of his. And this is the real kicker. Miss C many times told me she wanted to get a BGK dog from me but could not afford it. She had always wanted to have one of my dogs in her program but couldn't afford it. Many times she brought that up. Man, you're too expensive. I'd love to have one of your dogs. So what I think, now this is not what I know. I'm going to be very clear. This is what I think happened. I am 99% sure that she lined this up from the beginning. She recommended this trainer knowing that she would be able to get those two dogs from him and keep and use them in her program. That's what I believe happened. Now I could be wrong, but the way that she reacted when I made my post exposing him the first time, saying he hasn't contacted my client in like 8 months and he's hiding the dogs and he will not let us see pictures, videos, or know where the dogs are. And she go, oh, my friend would never. Anybody in their right mind would not be defending him at that point. Now it gets a little bit better. Now that he's indicted, I made the post on my Facebook about his indictment. Hey, this piece of shit, aka Steve Gispito on Facebook, and Stephen A. Gosson, being his real name, has stolen 2 dogs from my clients, and here is the link to his indictment. He's been indicted. He's been charged with 2 felony counts of theft by deception because he stole these 2 dogs, and he tried to go on a run from the police. They had to catch him. So this is a real piece of shit. Bully community, beware. Do not interact with this individual. He's a piece of shit. And in that post, I also tagged Eric the Douche and Miss C. I tagged both of them and said, I would like to see you defend him now like you defended him on my last post. Because my previous post, they tried to defend him. Oh, he's my good friend. Oh, he would never. Oh, yes, he would. And now he's indicted. Now he's indicted. It's not easy to get an indictment. That's not being charged like a regular crime. When you're being indicted, they have irrefutable proof that you are a piece of shit and you committed these acts. That's why he was indicted, right? So when I make that post, there was a lot of pushback on that post. Hey man, why are you tagging them? They didn't do it, but they damn sure were supporting him when I posted last time, and they knew that he was hiding the dogs. They were, oh, I just talked to him, and you know, everything's gonna come to the light. Well, everything's in the light right now, and I told them on that Facebook post that I was gonna make this video, and here we are. All right, so with that being said, my client has still never recovered those 2 dogs. There is an active reward out for both of those dogs. $6,000 per dog. If anybody can give me any information that leads to us recovering either of these 2 dogs, you get $6,000 per dog recovered. That is a real and active offer for anybody watching this video. You see the pictures of the dogs. I posted the pictures of the dogs in this video. I don't know what they look like now because he's hid them from us for years. They might be bred. I'm pretty sure they're being bred. And if they are, it will be somewhere in the New Jersey area or Ohio area that they're being bred. Somewhere between those two areas are where they're located, for sure. Where exactly, I don't know, but the best I can do is put out this video to let y'all know what's going on, because that's one of the things I like to use my story time for, is to be transparent and let you guys see what goes on behind the scenes. Now, everybody's like, man, all your story times are always drama. Well, you know what? I go to story time to tell you guys about the abnormal events that occur. If I were just to tell you I had a good day today and all my dogs ate great food and the BGK supplement is doing really good and they're getting really big, and they are, sidebar, look at this guy, BGK Thanos, 10 months and 137 pounds, a perfect example of what the BGK supplement can do for you. But let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. Look, if I was just to tell you guys that everything is going good, then it wouldn't be a real story time. But let me know, what would you have done if a trainer took 2 of your dogs and then just ghosted you? And then the person that introduced you to the trainer is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He's a good guy. Like, am I tripping here or are they tripping?
It is ordered that the defendant be sentenced to a 5-year term of community control under the control and supervision of the Department of Probation of this court, subject to the general rules of the court for this community control, and upon the following additional specific residential and non-residential and financial sanctions. The defendant is to be taxed the cost of prosecution in the amount of $1,206.95, for which judgment and execution is awarded. All payments shall be made to the clerk of the court. It is further ordered that the defendant shall serve 14 days in the Tri-County Regional Jail. The defendant shall report to the Tri-County Regional Jail on August 15th, 2022 by 2 p.m. to serve a sentence. It is further ordered that the defendant shall pay restitution in the amount of $49,506.56 and $1,650 in restitution to an additional person named Mr. Miller. Restitution shall be paid at the rate of $1,000 per month, commencing 30 days after the defendant's release from Tri-County Regional Jail. Ohio Revised Code requires adult offenders convicted of any felony and certain qualifying misdemeanors to provide a DNA sample inclusion into the DNA database. The defendant has previously consented to a DNA collection. It is further ordered, if you violate one or more of these conditions of community control, the court has a legal authority to revoke your sanctions, place you in a more restrictive sanction, or commit you to a state institution to serve your sentence, and shall result in the court's imposition of a suspended prison sentence of 12 months on each count, for an aggregate prison sentence of up to 24 months or 2 years in the Ohio Department of Corrections, less credit for time served. It is so ordered. For those that don't understand what I just read, what he's going to have to do is go to jail for, he went to jail for 2 weeks, 14 days. Now he has to pay back basically $50,000 to my client, and then $1,500 to another person that was added to this case who he also ripped off. Now he has to pay them back to the tune of $1,000 per month, right? After he gets out, 30 days after he gets out. So they give him 30 days to get his scrawny ass back on his feet and run around and make some money and start paying. So now he's gonna be working for my client, even though he didn't want to work for my client. How weird is that, right? So now he has to pay $1,000 per month until he pays $50,000 back to my client and $1,500 back to the other person that he ripped off that was included in this case. And if not, then he goes to prison for 2 years, 12 months per count of theft, right? The only reason they didn't give him 2 years for this case right here is because they wanted to get financial restitution, meaning they want my client to be able to get his money back. So they make him go to jail for 2 weeks, get your ass out there and start working and paying this man back at $1,000 per month. If you don't, you're going to prison for 2 years, bitch. So basically, this is a case of do your time for 2 weeks, get out, get on the track, ho, and make my money back. That's what we want you to do. Get out on the track, make my money back. Thief. We don't respect thieves around here. Now, I'm not gonna lie. The goal of this video is for y'all to make sure y'all don't get ripped off. And that means that's gonna make it harder for him to pay the money back, because he's dependent on the community to depend on him for dog training. But we know that he doesn't train dogs. He would rather steal it from you. So he's kind of in the catch-22. What you want me to do? Better get my money back, or you're back for a few. You know what that means? In jail, prison, lockdown, 2 years. Pay that money back, $1,000 per month, bro. And everybody that was supporting him, What happened, man? Look at your boy. He out there working anyway. He got to work for, what, 50 months? 50 months? 1,000 per month? 50,000? No, actually, it's going to be 51 months. He's got to do 50. How many? Let's see. 51 months breaks down to how much time in years. So let me do the math. There's 12 months in a year. He's going to have to pay back 51 months. So that means in the next 4 years and a quarter, 4.25 years, he'll be done paying my client back and working for him like a slave. Could have just done it right, bro. You could have just trained this dog. Now you're still working for him, or you're going to prison for the next 2 years. Make it make sense. You weren't thinking about that, huh? You weren't really thinking it through. Yeah, I know you listening to this video. I'm talking to you.
Anyway, it's over. He's indicted. He's in jail. He's a piece of shit. Please beware of this guy, Stephen A. Gossmeyer, aka on Facebook, Steve Gaspito. There is a lot of people that has been taken advantage by him. Even his own ex-girlfriend disassociated herself with him, saying, you know what, he's a real piece of shit. I don't want anything to do with him. He's been ripping people off and he's making my business look bad. And I'm getting a lot of pushback because I even was with this guy, so people think I'm a scam artist too, which I don't care. I think she might be connected to him. And I don't think she did not know that the dogs were being stolen and resold to some other breeder. I think she knew that the entire time.
Today is a very special day because I get to introduce you guys to Big Dog Supplements. Hey, what's up, YouTube fam? I'm proud to share something with y'all that I've been working on for over 12 years. I've been accused of using steroids and growth hormones to produce some of the huge BGK beasts that come out of my yard over the years. Now, nothing could be further from the truth. What I've used is very selective breeding with some of the best genetics in the world. You know my motto, quality matters. However, I do have a huge secret that's helped me grow my dogs on a whole different level, and it's super effective. Now, I've been developing my own supplement for over 12 years, and it works so well that I have to cut back on it when it accelerates my dog's growth or weight too damn fast. To be real, I messed up a couple times as I refined my supplement because I honestly made it too potent and some of my dogs would develop too fast. Now, you don't want your dogs to develop too fast because their bones can only support a certain amount of weight and you don't want to impede their movement. So when you're using my supplement, make sure if you notice they're developing too fast, cut back on the amount that you're giving them. That's super important. I use nothing but premium quality products, and most of them are actually originally intended for human consumption. I hired an experienced pet nutritionist and a veterinarian to help me refine my supplement until it had the right balance and still stayed super potent. I also worked very closely with a well-known laboratory based in Los Angeles to analyze both of my supplements and provide us with an accurate nutritional breakdown and guaranteed analysis to include on the packaging of our product. We have refined the supplement until we have the best of the best. Our motto still stands: quality matters. With all that being said, let me introduce you to our two Big Dog supplement products, all right? The first one is our Bulk Up Mix. Now, this is for all breeds. Listen, it's not just for XL American Bullies or Pit Bulls. This is for all breeds and for all life stages, from puppies to your elderly dog. It helps with your dog's growth and development, cleanses the intestinal tract, promotes digestive health, boosts the immune system, helps with the coat, cardiovascular health and function, and more. If you want your developing puppy to reach its maximum potential and become a true beast, this is definitely the formula for you. There's never been a more vitamin-packed, nutrient-packed supplement ever available to dogs. This is powerful stuff. Now, the second Big Dog supplement product that I'd like to introduce you to is called the Muscle Up Mix. The Muscle Up Mix is for all breeds. I repeat, it is for all breeds. However, both our pet nutritionist and the veterinarian that assisted us in developing the product has confirmed that it should only be used by pups that are 8 months and older because of the high amount of protein and the intensity of the ingredients contained in this supplement. 8 months and older only. This supplement promotes muscle development, growth and development, cleanses the intestinal tract, promotes digestive health, boosts the immune system, helps with the coat, helps with cardiovascular health and function, and much more. The Muscle Up Mix powder is so packed with vitamins, protein, and powerful top quality ingredients that it can only be used by a working active dog that will burn off all the extra calories and protein and convert it into muscle. This is not for your dog that's laying around the house or just doing casual exercise in the backyard. As I said earlier, this is for a working dog. This is for a canine athlete, whether it's a hunting dog, whether it's a weight pulling dog, or just a high energy dog that you work out on a regular basis and you want to have that supreme muscle tone. Well, this is definitely the supplement for you. That's why it cracked me up so much much when people ask me, did I use steroids because they see my dogs were so big and buffed and ripped. Why would I use a steroid that would shorten my dog's life when I can give it a health supplement that I developed that will extend its life and still give it that big, ripped, crazy look? Yeah, they look like bullies, for sure. All you have to do is spread a couple tablespoons of our big dog supplement over your dog's favorite food, and they will go crazy over it. They love the flavor of our big dog supplements. I've had dogs find the actual bag of the supplement, and try to eat the entire thing. Yes, that's happened to me.